and duster and board. These are the tools of teacher, as simple as that. You cannot stand there and give gyan, right, without giving them the grassroots knowledge which is needed. See, that's the problem. Many of them have started discarding UPSC, civil service. It's a bad. How come it is a bad exam? How come this exam is not worth it, right? It trains you for everything. Yes, it may be made more cost effective. Yes, government reduce the charges, the taxes, the commercial charges they impose. Commercial electricity cost in Delhi is very high. If I use the same infrastructure at home, I may get 6,000 bill, 5,000 bill. If I'm using the same infrastructure here, I'm getting 25,000 bill. So how will somebody try to teach students at a very cost-effective, affordable price? How to do that? So see, government, traditional governments, right, have never had the commercial or entrepreneurial thinking. They don't have this idea. Okay, that is the idea which was implemented. That should government only spend or should government earn? It should spend only when it can earn. That's the idea. Taxation, revenue, reducing deficit, using new budgetary models. What kind of bureaucrats we need? So they started using the term entrepreneurial bureaucrats. Entrepreneurial civil servants. Who are these people who can think out of the box? Today, still today, the NPM model is being used, let's say in India. Every country in the world which wants to reform its traditional bureaucracy is using NPM model. So when government says we'll privatize this, we want lateral entry, right? See, that's a practical example. Lateral entry. What are we doing? We are trying to create opportunity for the private sector or specialists. Opportunity for the private sector or the specialist in the government system, right? So if we not totally privatize, what are we doing? We are bringing the private sector elements, their practices, their thinking process, their attitude into the system. That is what NPM is saying. Reinvent government. How to reinvent? Bring a collaboration of private with public, or introduce the elements of private into public sector. So NPM became a craze. Most of the developed countries obviously were transforming their administrative systems. And slowly, by 2000, 2001, many developing countries also started experimenting with NPM. If you know about Singapore, Singapore was one of the worst governed city-states till 1960s. But then comes a president, a head, called as Lee Kuan Yew. He's a famous university also in his name. So Lee Kuan Yew, right? He transformed it in 10 years. How he did that? Similar models. He started making everyone accountable. In first 1 month, he removed 800 police officials from their posts. Put most of them in behind the bars. They were all charged of corruption. He removed them one day. The Singapore Airlines staff went on a strike. He removed all of them. He hired new people. He said, it's okay. See? He took a lot of hard decisions. But he transformed it slowly. And then obviously you'll see today how disciplined people are there. Systems are there. Police is there. Everything is disciplined. So see, these models are not just product of one theory, right? They are product of a lot of changes that happened globally. Right? So many developed countries started talking about it, started implementing, and obviously many developing countries also slowly started following the same model. So today when you talk about privatization, lateral entry, right, incentive system, if you know 6th pay commission, 7th pay commission, right, they have talked about performance linked incentive system in civil services in India, which is basically a private sector practice where the employees are rewarded as per or given incentives as per their performance. In government, there is no system like that, right? In government, you get a salary. So 6th pay commission in India, it supported performance-linked incentive system. It was purely based on the NPM model. So today also governments are reforming things as per NPM. So NPM also became a paradigm. It became a transforming movement throughout the world. It was considered to be a dominant landmark development in the study and understanding of public administration. Fine, we'll talk about it in detail, right? Now see, there are the unit 2 and 3. They are basically related to something called, right? Something called organizational theories, right? This is very important. right? Very important, because again, at least 20-25% questions in the exam from one unit. Your thinkers, your basic theories, or your understanding of organization, its various elements, right? So first you have to understand, we'll not talk about everyone because there are a lot of scholars, but I'll give you a general idea. See, what is this entire idea about? Fine. See, when we think of, let's say, study of public administration, we said it has various dimensions. Right? One of the dimension is what? Public administration is a system. Now let me imagine this way. You want to make a very efficient pen. So what should you focus on? Its performance, right? How will performance improve? You have to study about its design. You have to design it. You have to understand the design. You have to understand various elements of this design. Then you have to design it in a manner that it creates the best performance. You understand? So if public administration is a system which the government uses to achieve its goals, right? Should we not understand and design the system properly? Only then we can talk about its function, its performance, its impact, its role in the society, right? Unless we know that how well designed this system should be, how extraordinary this system could be designed, right? We cannot think of its good performance. You understand? That is what these theories of organization are. We are trying to understand, we are trying to design the system, we are trying to understand how well we can develop a system which can perform the best function for the society, or the purpose for which we are creating. It should be able to maximize that purpose efficiently. That is the idea, see? So we use the idea of a system. That means we need to understand this system or this organization. We need to understand the entire system, its functioning, its process, rules, regulation, procedures, principles, everything. And that is when we design the best system. That is when we understand how it functions properly, right? We could have one of the effective administration. That was the idea. That what it does depends upon how it is. Right? Is it true or not? So see, the government or any policy program, it will have success or failure depending upon the machinery which is implementing it. See? So this study entire revolves on what? The machinery of government called public administration. Or let's imagine simply the administration as a function. How it can be made effective in nature. How it can be developed into a efficient, rational, logical, scientific system. So that it works, right? Irrespective of what is happening, it works in the most efficient manner. That is the idea. So there were scholars who started looking for developing this theory or principle or knowledge regarding what can be the best form of any organization. If you understand this simple idea that in the world, whatever we are doing around us is all done through organization, right? We are not working individually. Anything which is worth achieving, which is credible in nature, which is substantial in nature, can only be done through collective system. Any collective system is called organization. Whether it is political, social, economic, cultural, religious, industrial, right, administrative, whatever it is, everything is in the form of organization. If we study and understand what is an organization, if we develop it properly, if we develop scientific knowledge about it, right, can we transform every organization in the world? Yes, that's the idea. That is why instead of talking about, see, we use the term administrative thinkers, right, but that is not correct word. UPSC should change it, right? It should be called as organizational thinkers. Instead, this is basically the study. Many scholars have contributed to something called organizational theories. Our primary purpose is to understand how best we can design organizations, how efficiently we can develop organizations, any organization. We want to do politics, political organization. We want to do administration, bureaucratic organization. We want to do socio-cultural function, we want to perform social function, industrial function, anything. So see, this chapter, this part is basically about the general understanding, description, and analysis of how organizations can be developed, how effectively they can be created, right? And now it is up to you for what you are using it. So these scholars believe that administration is a universal function. Every organization in the world requires some administration. You have to, your father gives you a responsibility that you have to manage this family function. How will you start with that? Let's say he gives you that, okay, these are the tasks you have to do, this is what we are supposed to do, this is the money, take it, now you have to implement, conduct the function. How will you do it? Correct. That's what administration is. Right? You'll see the resource, you'll manage the resource, you'll make a budget, right? You'll plan things, you'll talk to the people, align the vendors, negotiate for the prices. See, this is what administration is. Anything which we need to pursue, which we need to achieve, we have to do it through what? Collective association. When we are doing it right, we need to perform certain functions. Anything. So any goal we want to achieve, we need to perform certain set of functions to achieve them. That is called administration. And if we are performing those functions efficiently in a cost-effective manner, or our focus is more on, right, saving the resources, maximizing the benefit, and we are looking for the ways to do it, right? We are looking for the means to do it. That is called management. So see, administration is a broader function, management is a sub-function of administration. You have to achieve the goal, yes, administration. You have to do a lot of things for that, right? In that achievement of the goal, one portion or one aspect of the functioning is that we need to minimize the cost, we need to maximize the gain. See, management. Human resource, material resource, how do I do, right? So that my purpose or my functioning becomes more effective, efficient as well. So see, administration is more concerned with achieving the broader goal, and management is concerned with how to achieve this goal with maximum efficiency, minimum cost. Understand? Both are more or similar functions, right? But one is more economic in nature, the other is more authoritative in nature, right? Administration is more concerned with controlling, regulating, coordinating. Management, more cost effectiveness. So any function in the world you have to perform, you have to organize. You have to have collective system. How to manage this, how to create it, how to perform that function, how to keep this system efficient, keep it running. That is the idea of study of organizations. Every organization in the world is what? An artificial system. You have created it, right? Every organization in the world is an artificial system. Let's say except family, which is a natural system. This is a very important concept. Organizations are artificial systems. Why? We design them deliberately. We design them deliberately or not? Oh, counselor, receptionist, okay, research, okay, content, okay, classing, we design it. Every function that we have to perform, right? We try to find out what are the necessary aspects to perform these functions, right? Then we try to arrange them. So this coordination, this arrangement is what? Deliberate. That's why we call them as artificial. Okay, it does not mean it is negative word. It is more of a positive word. So family is bound by emotional ties, blood ties, whereas any other organization is bound by laws, rules, regulation. That is why it is formal and artificial. Deliberate and formal. You are making a coordination deliberately, consciously. So these people study, right? Important contributors, like how do they start understanding organization? So there are many scholars, right? Ultimately, what is the purpose? That how to make an efficient understanding of organization, how to develop them, how to improve their performance. See, that is the idea. Everyone wanted to study this scientifically. That is what the purpose is, right? If we don't study things scientifically, how will we make them efficient? How are we going to create them? How are we going to implement them? See? So this entire phase where these theories developed, right, where the knowledge developed, it became a main content of study of public administration. There are a lot of other areas of study, right? But this became one central content, main focus of study, especially when you say US and Europe. So what they did, these scholars, they now tried to develop principles, scientific knowledge related to organizations. So initially, right, they had a particular viewpoint. They had a particular purpose, what they wanted. So majority of the scholars who contributed to these studies initially, they wanted scientific knowledge, first of all. Secondly, they focused on the design. They did not focus on the human being. No organization in the world can exist without human beings. So it's like saying that I'm focusing more on this podium and its design, but not on the person who's going to stand or who's going to use it. Can you say this chair can withstand 100 or 200 kgs person on this? No, it might. Right? Or a person who is 6, 7 feet, right? Can he fit into this chair? So when I'm designing the chair, am I comprehending that? I am, right? But logically, right, there is a limit to that comprehension. I cannot comprehend beyond that. What these people did, see, they designed structure, they look for the principles, they look for efficient system, but they did not keep into consideration the human being. They only kept his elementary understanding. Okay, there are humans, they will be hired, they will come, they will work, they will go. How should we control them? Okay, this manner. How should we regulate them? This way, right? How should we make them work 8 hours a day? Okay, this is. How should we pay them? This way. Only this much. They did not try to understand human psychology, emotion, internal aspect. They said it's okay. So see, they viewed people mostly like machines and robots. They felt people will come in a particular routine, perform the task, and go back in that. That was the view which initial scholars held regarding what is an organization, right? They viewed organization isolated from human impact and human behavior. So they designed it, they developed the idea, they developed the principles, right? And they said, see, this is one of the best model of organization in the world. Whatever you have to do, use it. But slowly and slowly, this idea failed. For example, bureaucracy is a model of organization based on this idea. Design, structure, procedure, everything is there. Scientific, efficient, right? But imagine the humans were not taken into consideration. If you bring a good sofa in your room, right, in your drawing room or living room, and you say, oh, this is one of the most comfortable, most durable, right, sofas in the world. I've bought it, right? The seller gave me all this card, this document, right, proving it. See. Now you put it in your living room and you call one of your friends, right? He has one deviant child, 8, 9 years old. He comes and he starts jumping on that sofa. After a few hours, no document, no warranty card could save that sofa. It breaks down. Now, what is the idea? The seller said it is one of the best, most durable, most, what you can say, comfortable sofa in the world, right? But he gave this description in ideal conditions, not considering that there is a kind of human behavior which is going to impact the sea. This is what they did with the organization. They said, oh, hierarchy is the best principle. Supervision, control, this is what we should do. They never visualized there are differences in human behavior. If I develop a model, it cannot fit everyone, see? So they were concerned with one size fit all model. It failed. So later many scholars come, right? They are called behavioralists. The behavioral scholars start studying now the organization, keeping the human behavior at the center. The previous one studied the organization, removing the humans from the organization. That is a big change. So when humans are now treated as integral to the understanding of organization, now what happened? So the behavioral scholars realized, this is the way, what we perceived of the organization, right? It doesn't function that way. What our senior scholars have made, it doesn't function that way, right? When I take humans into account, it doesn't function. Those theories are called behavioral theories. They study human behavior, human psychology, human mindset while they interact with the organization. See, a standard principle, the subordinate must accept the directions of the boss. Let's say, right? Standard principle of organization. Superior will give directions to the subordinate. Let's say one principle, right? Now superior gives the direction to the subordinate. He doesn't accept it. Now see, your previous scholars did not have solution for that. Right? Now what to do? See? Now there's no solution. So these scholars who started studying organization without human beings, they did not comprehend, right, what to do if something else happens apart from what we are talking about. They did not have that ability because they did not consider it studying. Understand? So the logic is that when the behavioral scholars started studying, they realized, oh, that human beings have diverse behaviors. They have emotions. Their psychology changes. They are changing beings, right? So can we have one universal model of organization? Can we have one best model? Can we have one size fit all? They said, no, we cannot have. So what should we do? If subordinate doesn't accept the orders of the boss, what should we do? Should we destroy the organization? No. What should we do? We should make necessary adjustment. This is called the dynamic view of organization. The earlier is called the static view of organization. See, so if you make this chair adjustable, understand? Right now you've made a chair which is fixed to give it more durability, strength, and all this, right? But see, if you want to actually make it more useful, if you want diverse people to use it, right? What will you do? You'll make it more flexible. So as people sit on that, it takes the shape of the person. That is called adaptation, right? So behavioral scholars, later scholars, or category of scholars who come, they were the scholars who believed organizations should be adaptive to the human beings. Different type of human beings will come. Let us scientifically understand them, and as per their needs, we can design and redesign the organization. So see, the entire model or the entire way of understanding organization changes. They are called behavioral scholars. See. Mary Parker Follett. From here it starts. All these are static scholars. Taylor, Fayol, Gulick, Harwick, they're all static scholars. They believe organizations once designed will remain that way. Their focus is only on structure. You understand what is a structure? Structure is the design. The arrangement, which is fixed. Right? So, see? So these scholars criticize. Now from Mary Parker Follett, she's one of the famous scholars. So Follett, from here, you can say the emergence of dynamic or behavioral scholar starts falling. She now starts viewing the organization as a different manner. She's one of the supporters or one of the proponents of situational theory. You understand what is a situational theory? Famous for her situational approach, or something called law of situation. What is situational? Have you seen 2022 prelims paper? Did you see? Right? 2022, when people started criticizing, right? Or 23, I think. Agriculture, this lot of static things have come. 24 is almost more static than that. Right? The 24 paper is not a trend. It's a deviation. Right? Till 23, or starting from, let's say, somewhere around 2015, for 8 years, they had specific pattern of questions coming, right? Combinations. Most of these students were using elimination technique. When do you use elimination technique? When you have at least done the questions which you know, right? As simple as that. You cannot start using elimination in the beginning itself. So there are things which you will know, and there are things which you will not know. And there are things which are in between. Yes, no, and somewhere in between. So certain questions on which you have dilemma, you'll use elimination on them. You cannot use elimination everywhere, see. Most of these students now started focusing on elimination, see. That is human tendency. Easy, so how to simplify, how to make it more comfortable, right? Least effort. Fine. I'm coming to this side, you see. As our environment, right? Our surrounding, our ecology. You understand the difference between environment and ecology? What is environment? Simple existence of biotic, abiotic, physical, organic factors around us. Environment. Fine. Though environment can be, right, natural or social. Yes. You can have economic environment, you can have political environment, you can have religious environment. But generally, let's take in the technical sense. Environment means something which is your surrounding, right? And it comprises of simply physical or biotic and abiotic factors. Now, I'm not studying their interrelationship. I'm only studying them as it is. You understand? Ecology, interrelationship. So if I'm studying organization as it is, static. If I'm studying now the interrelationship between different elements, right? Structure and design or system, human beings, and now the environment, or let's say ecology. Why I'm studying this ecology now? If I put this remote in a microwave, what will happen? Right. If I don't know this, right, I may put it in microwave. If I don't know, this will happen, right? Someday I might put it. Are you ready? Is this useful there? No. It is useful in a particular context. So as the environment around this will change, right? It will have to change, adapt according to that. Anything right, which is existing, is suitable in a particular context, in a particular surrounding, right? As that our surrounding changes, either this will change or it will die. So the idea of ecology comes that let us understand that if there is design, structure, organization, there are human beings, right? And there is an environment, there is a surrounding. If surrounding changes, should they change or should they not change? Now, what is your opinion? Correct. Now, that is the idea. Law of situation. What is situation? The surrounding. Internal and external. See. So, if an organization says we are wearing a helmet, nothing can come from outside, nothing can grow outside, then you can study that organization, right? Things remain as it is. But no organization in this world can remain isolated from its surrounding. See, Forte brings this idea that every organization, political, social, economic, industrial, administrative, any organization in this world cannot be understood, cannot be studied without interaction with the environment. Simple. You're running, let us say, a leather garments industry. Right? PETA is an organization. Who was working with PETA? Right? Now, you've seen their advertisements, right? So their advertisements seem to be highly rude, highly naked advertisements, right? That is a term called politics without romance. The term used by public choice scholars. Politics without romance. What does it mean? Have you heard of this word? Romanticization. Can you give me an example? Once you qualify civil services, you are going to change the world, you are going to do this, you are going to be one of the most powerful, respectable, privileged person, as if you are the only one who will become IAS in this world. Thousands have become, thousands have gone. What did they change? Nothing. But what did they change? A person can impact only the era, the context in which he is present. That's it. Neither you can change the past, nor you can change the future. You can simply work in the present. So if you provide water to 2 lakh people, that's your contribution, simply. Right? So probably for 5 years or 3 years or 4 years that you have done that contribution, that is enough, right? You have at least ensured that they will not die of thirst for these 4-5 years. After that, someone comes and cuts the water supply. What will you do? See, your changes, your impacts are never permanent. Right? So see, if you glamorize anything out of proportion, you highlight its ideal characteristics, right? That is called romanticization. Right? Describe something as more attractive, more interesting than it really is. No, it's not about than it really is, right? You are just over glamorizing it. Same. Government is about welfare. Government is about justice. Government is about public interest. Government is good. Government is ethical. Democracy is extraordinary. What is this? Glamorization. There is corruption in dictatorial system. There is corruption in communist system. There is corruption in democratic system. What is the difference? Right? There are murders in democracy. There are murders in dictatorial system. There are murders in communist system. There are crimes. There are crimes. Here, crime. क्या फर्क है भाई? Romanticization. Romanticization, you know. Right? Who's that actor? Wow. The biggest actor, your Amitabh Bachchan, for example, right? Or how the movies in South India, how they project the stars. Right? They project the stars that way, no? Thalaiva, this, right? Rajnikant, see? Super duper star, this star, that star, right? Rebel star, right? That. What is that person? Prabhas. How are they projecting them, see? It means it seems like they are directly just they are airdropped by the god on this planet. Right? They are not born. Rocking star, see, he's one more is added. Yash. Yeah? See how they are projecting. That is called romanticization. So politics romanticized, bureaucracy romanticized, right? So the idea is without romanticization, when you think of things around you, see, what will happen? Let's say you say, collector, I'll do something. The idea is simple. Every organization, right, whenever it is functioning, whenever it has to do something, where will it do? It will do something in the society. It will do something in the surrounding, right? So if surrounding interacts with the organization, it is going to change it. Either organization will change or surrounding will change. Something will change. This is an idea which is which was again prevalent in the study of biological systems, environment, right? Your technology, your environment and biodiversity. We used to study with this framework. So there were scholars who used this framework to understand organization. That is called like we use the concept of something called bio-networking. Instead, what is bio-networking? When you study habitat, right? When you study food web, right? Okay, fine, right? What else? The species diversity, the gene pool diversity. So when you study this phenomena, right, that somewhere see all these species, all the flora and fauna in a particular area, they are existing in interdependence with each other. That is called bio-networking. If one vanishes, the others will start vanishing, right? So see how they are networked to each other, right? They are biologically connected to each other. They are organically connected to each other. See, if you don't have ears, can you wear these specs? So some say I'll tie it from this way. You can do it for some time, right? Not permanently. So that means what, right? Obviously, to see, you don't need your ears, right? But if you cannot see through specs, without specs, right? You need ears to see. That's called interdependence. Right? So obviously, if you don't have hair, you don't need to have a comb. Still, you can keep a comb. Nobody will stop you. Right? Nobody can stop you. You can keep it, right? But see, there's an interdependence. One may exist only because other exists. That is called bio-networking. We talk about biodiversity in that way. But same way, imply this to organization. Right? People coexist together. Right? Structure, design exists. People exist, and then they coexist with the surrounding. Right? This is the idea that there is a high level of codependence or interdependence between every aspect of organization and surrounding. Simply, Pakistan makes a decision, China makes a decision in Pakistan, right? Or India, China make a decision. Will not be the surrounding affected. Pakistan makes a decision with China. Will India not be affected? Simple. This is the idea. So any system will be affected. You are a collector and SP of a particular area. Now there are a lot of rowdy people living in that area. See, your manner of dealing with them will change. Your manner of dealing with normal citizens will change. Adaptations. So this idea that organizations have to adapt, right? Who will adapt? Will this pen adapt, or the one who is using the pen will adapt? So what is the meaning of adaptation? The humans who are running the organization, who are part of the organization, right? They will now adapt as per the circumstance. This concept, because there's a scholar called Donald Warwick. Donald Warwick uses a concept called administrative Darwinism. Administrative Darwinism, see? What is administrative Darwinism? Adapt. Darwin. Charles Darwin talks about what? Survival of the fittest. Theory of natural selection. Right? Adapt or die. Simple. That's the idea. Administrative Darwinism, right, comes with the concept of adapt or die. Change or die. Now see? We are implying these concepts into public administration. That what is an organization? Just like normal living beings, organization is also a living being. It can also adapt. See, because any living being can only adapt. The others cannot adapt, right? So the idea is that how organizations will adapt. When humans who are then in them, right, they are able to adapt. This is the concept of administrative Darwinism. So behavioral scholars, Forte is the pioneer of that. Elton Mayo is the pioneer of that. Elton Mayo brings the concept of human relations approach. Human relations, see, he focuses on humans. Forte focuses on humans and environment. All these scholars somewhere focus on the human being, psychology, behavior, right? Imagine you are the UPSC examiner, right? And you had huge conflict with your wife. Or your mother-in-law has come, right? And now your wife is quite angry that you are not giving much time to your mother-in-law. Though you have told her that, see, I have to evaluate public administration mains copies of many students. But still she is quite adamant that no, this is not correct. You don't respect my mother and all this. So you have a conflict, right? Or vice versa. You are the examiner, right? Your husband's mother has come, that means your mother-in-law, you can reverse the situation, right? There should be no gender biasness. Now see, in spite of all this fighting, right, anger, whatever happens, right, he has to go to UPSC now. He has been called, he has to finish the task, right? Let us say 1,000 students have written the mains copy, he has to check, or there is a team, let's say, which is checking, but he has to check 300 copies in next 20 days. That means somewhere 15 copies per day. Or let's keep it 10 a day, right? In 1 month. One copy consists of around 20-25 questions. It is a UPSC answer sheet, right? If you have 2 papers, then it means 40 questions. If you have 1 paper, that means 20 questions. Let's say he doesn't evaluate paper 2, he evaluates paper 1. There's another person who is evaluating paper 2. Let's imagine this way. Now this person is highly irritated, right? And he goes to the evaluation. The first copy that he gets, right? The writing of that boy or that aspirant, right, is illegible. He is not able to understand the writing. Ultimately, he cannot eliminate the human aspect. Fine. He takes his copy, tries reading certain things, he's not able to read, keeps reading. Baad mein karenge. Get the other one. See? Now what happened? He might not have read the answer, right? Or he might have tried to read the answer. Now he has put this copy aside, right, to be evaluated in the end. In the end, what will he be? Frustrated, more frustrated, right? After evaluating 10, 15 copies, he'll be more frustrated now. Already frustrated, more frustrated at the end. Now the nature of evaluation will change. If his copy was evaluated in the beginning, he might be irritated, right? But not tired. At the end, he's irritated also and then tired also now. So if he was giving 200 some marks to that boy, now he will give 160. That is what happens everywhere. UPSC is not a divine system. Let's say there is another layer of evaluation. Right? So head of evaluations, right? There's another person who says it's okay, fine. In the end also, I will also review. What he reviews? Does he review that why you have given 2 marks out of 10? No. He reviews that, okay, 2 plus 2 plus 4, 5, 6, which all comes down to 160. And he will review the examiner that, okay, fine. Did you look into all the parameters and gave the answer, marks? He said, yes, sir, I did all that. Should we recheck it? Okay, recheck it. Recheck means re-evaluation. No check. Re-addition. He might be concerned if someone gets 20 marks. There was a student, right? Not a student, not my student, obviously. There was one aspirant in our time when we were also giving. He got 21 marks in one paper. It is impossible. There are 2 sections of 50 marks, which are objective type. Objective means you have to write in 100 words, right? Normally, any person who has studied properly can at least write something in that. Even if you write something and you get 2 marks, 2.5, right? If you complete the entire paper and you still get 1 marks, then also you'll get 25 marks, no? There are 25 questions, you get 1 mark. So that boy was amazed. How did he get 21 marks in one paper? The other paper he got 130 something. So now he was more confused that if this 20 is valid, because in the other I got 130. So he checked it for re-evaluation, whatever he did. He went to the court. Court did not accept. UPSC gave its own logic. It's a trade secret. Yes, that is what UPSC said in the court. You can go and review the judgment. You can just Google it, cases against UPSC, right? In terms of evaluation and checking and marks. So you'll get a lot of cases. Now UPSC's argument was that it is a trade secret and if we disclose it, coachings will benefit. What is this logic? What is this logic? See? It's like saying if the media talks about our policy, right, Pakistan will know about it. That means all the policies, right, should be restricted only to the government. Nobody should know about it. What is this logic? So either you feel you are more incompetent or you feel coachings are more competent than you. See, so try to understand. If your surrounding impacts you, right, your behavior, Ankur, that person went to, or the set of students went to Supreme Court also, right? Nothing happened. UPSC is a highly secretive organization, and that is true. So Supreme Court, you see, people have gone to the court that our marks should be released. The year in which we give the exam, why are you releasing the prelims exam after 1 year? No exam in the world does that. You're giving prelims this year, you're getting the score next year, see? Which exam does this? What is the logic behind it? So, You have 5 lakh people or 3 lakh people who are appearing for the exam, right? Out of that, you have to choose 15,000, but let's say 50,000 have crossed the cutoff. So how will you manipulate them now? You require 1 year, no, for that. If cutoff is 92, right? There can be 10,000 students getting 92. How can you stop it? But do you think only 500 students are eligible for that? See? So let's say 15,000 students have to qualify, but 30,000 students have qualified. Now what will they do? Have you never thought of how to ask UPSC? Why not to ask UPSC that if 30,000 have qualified the cutoff, how do you select people? What is your criteria? Lottery, eh? Alphabetical. How do you select people? It is very much possible that out of 5 lakh, 3 lakh, 30,000 would qualify the prelims, right? But they have to eventually choose 15,000. How do they do that? So they don't have sectional cutoffs, right? But we never know. That's why I tell students, don't work for CSAT only for qualifying it. Get a considerable, comfortable score even in CSAT. That's a possibility. So you cannot simply say, I'll just be on the margin. And then, if you're on the margin, most likely you're not able to qualify prelims. So let's leave that discussion, right? So see, every organization, right, wherever the surroundings or environment impacts you, right, the impact is on what? Human beings. Humans are coming to the organization, going there. What are they bringing with them? Their emotional issues, family issues, cultural issues, their religion, their value system, biases, preference, they are bringing into system. What are they taking from here? Gossip, chatter, friendship, community, they take it back. Again they come back, again they go back. What is happening? Organization, environment, interactions. Who is the medium? You are the medium. The people who are working in the organization. That is the meaning of adaptation. Who adapts? People adapt. So like I said, you are a leather manufacturing unit and government tomorrow says no leather. Right? There is a lot of global pressure, environmental pressure, and from the next 24 hours, right, all the leather industries are shut down. So you have to shift your base somewhere if you want to adapt, or you have to shift to something called synthetic leather. Or you might shift to something fabric, may not be leather. You understand? That is adaptation. Policies change, we have to adapt. International relations change, we have to adapt. Right? Society change, bureaucracy has to adapt. Right? Bureaucracy change, society has to adapt. So behavioral scholars have studied that. When people adapt or change, or when people become influential within the organization, when they are studied as important part of the organization, right? We want to know more about them. So we agree, we accept that people have values, culture, emotions, all that, right? And somewhere they impact the organization. But ultimately, we want to study, we want to understand them, and we want to somewhere make them better and efficient for the organization. What is the purpose of studying people in the organization? To make the organizations better. So there are some scholars who come later. They are called the advanced behavioral scholars. They're also called as neo-behavioral scholars. Right? Don't write anything, you can just look at, just after this you'll see. There is something called administrative behavior is a topic, right? So there are advanced behavioral scholars. These behavioral scholars, what they do? They try to now, they just don't want to just understand human behavior, right? Or they just don't want to observe and analyze it. They want to know what is the reason, what is the source of that behavior. They just don't want to study what humans think. They also want to know why they think that way. Right? They just don't want to know, okay, this person is like this person is like this. They also want to know what is the reason for this. They are called advanced behavioral scholar. They want to understand human psychology and human behavior. They study it. And one of the important aspects of this study is the study of human motivation, human morale. Right? Why? Because only when they know how humans become motivated, how their morale increases, right, they can be directed to improve the functioning of organizations. So there emerged an entire area of study called organizational motivation, organizational morale, right? Or the word organizational behavior. What is the focus? Understanding the psychology and behavior of people in the organization. See? Now it opens up an entire area of study. It is a very simple area, interesting area. But somewhere here, the organization or administration right, gets merged with the psychology and behavioral studies. So see, as we enter into the study of organization, human beings, more and more into that, what happens? The study of administration or the public administration, it becomes multidisciplinary. Lot of new subjects are needed to understand it. So from third unit, when you'll see, everything which is there is a consequence of what we study till then. There are topics like comparative public administration, development administration, public policy, right? All these are a consequence of all the behavioral studies. When you start studying American public administration, right, you realize after a point of time there is something called Indian public administration. There's something called European public administration. There's something called Sri Lankan public administration. See, so there emerges an idea that okay, yes, there's nothing like universal public administration. Every society may have its own form of administration. Why not we study that? That is called comparative public administration. The study of developing society is called development administration. So if I want to say that the initial study in public administration is more concerned with Western countries, right? And later on, 1960s onwards, the study also focuses or includes the study of non-Western countries, right? So I would say the earlier part as traditional public administration or Western public administration, and the other part is development administration. So DA was an area which was specially created for the study of non-Western societies. Public policy is another area which is very popular. In public policy, what do we study? Obviously, how policies are made, right? And what are the theoretical models to understand them. Personal administration in paper 1, right, means the study of human resource management, especially how to manage civil servants in a better manner. This topic is theoretical. In paper 2, there is a topic called civil services, right? So this personal administration and civil services, right, they have to be understood together. Because personal administration is theory and civil services is its application. Financial management or financial administration paper 1, financial administration paper 2C. Financial administration in paper 1 is the theory. Financial management in paper 2 is the application. There is no difference much in their content. See? One is only Indian context, the other is general theory of finance. Both have to be studied together, right? So public policy, these areas, a lot of things are overlapping. When we'll talk about paper 2 tomorrow, we'll talk about that also, right? There's another area, if you see, administrative law. These are very important. You don't have booklets? You did not bring it, no? Why? You have it. You have it. So you left it at home for resting. The book is taking comfort, right? Use it. Why you're keeping it? So let's say it may be on your app. You can open it if you want. But it's okay. We are just winding up, right? So there is administrative law an area, right? What is administrative law? Have you heard of this term? You've seen the signboards, by the order of SSP, no parking. Have you seen such signboards? The traffic is being diverted, right, by the order of DCP traffic. How can he give order? Is he a judge? Fine. RTI, Right to Information Act. You know about it? Right? Before RTI, what was there? Secrecy. Right? If RTI brings transparency, before RTI, what would be there? Secrecy. It's common sense, right? You don't have to be over intelligent for this, right? So if RTI was there, before that there was something called Freedom of Information Act, 2002, brought by Vajpayee government, right? Right to information brought by Congress government, Manmohan Singh government. Before that, there is another law, 1957, modified in 66 somewhere, right? Public Information Disclosure Act, which mandates every organization or department in the government of India to disclose information related to its public decisions. That means the information that can be brought in the public domain. But there was no medium for that, no what to do. So somewhere they had to publish certain information in the newspapers, right? Paste it on certain areas so that people know about it. Make hoardings of that, let it go. See? Now RTI comes. What will RTI do, or what did RTI do? It changed the administration from secrecy to transparency. Did it change completely? No. Right? But it did something. What did it do? It changed the way administration was working. So can you say RTI is a restriction on administration? It is. Correct? It makes people more powerful, right? This is one way of looking at it. I will take another view. This is correct, no doubt. But let me look into another perspective also. The coming of RTI empowers the public servant to give information to the people. It obligates the public servant to give information to the people, right? But he has now another function added to him. Is it true or not? A driver, right? A Malik buys two cars. A Malik has a car already, right? And he has a driver. He buys another car. A new car, better car, right? Ferrari he buys. Driver was, till that time, the driver was driving an ambassador. But it was his duty to maintain this car. See? Now the Malik gets another car, the driver gets irritated. Now I'll have to clean two cars. I'll have to manage two cars. I have to look after two cars, right? But then his friend comes and he says, oh, you're stupid. You also have to think outside the box. Think something new. You are going to drive this Ferrari, see? Because you're the driver. So who enjoys the Ferrari? The driver. What is Malik doing? It doesn't matter. If you're sitting at the back seat, right? It is a Ferrari, it is an ambassador, it hardly matters to you. Are you understanding? See? So now, if RTI controls the administration, RTI has also given a new function to the administration. It has added something to its authority or not? Who is authorized to do it? Administration. See? So there are two ways of looking at it. One, the law RTI Act restricts the role of administration. The other, RTI Act adds another function in the hands of administrator, right? So earlier, there was nothing like providing information. Today, there is a function called providing information. Now, let us simplify it. As more functions will be performed by the administration, its interface with the people will increase. The more increase in interface, the more opportunity to harass, take bribes, to influence them, right? Or to somewhere exercise their authority. So this is called the development paradox. You understand? The development paradox. What is development paradox? The system that has been given the responsibility to develop you, right? To perform functions for you, right? The same system also has been given authority to perform those functions. So you cannot come with only the duty or responsibility to perform the function. You will also be given the authority to perform that function. So the more administration serves the society, the more authority it is given to serve the society. See? Without authority, how can you serve the society, right? That's the logic. The more someone cares for you, the more dependent you become on that person. Paradox. Right? So the logic is, right, your parents care too much for you and you become dependent and technically you are not able to grow the way you should. Who cares for the wild trees? Look at them. Right? Magnificent roots, well-developed stem, huge trees. Who looks after them? Who is the gardener? Who is the mali? Who is giving them this urea, fertilizer, khad, this? No. Nature has its own way of nurturing. See? Same way. Your parents take too much of care of you, look after you, everything. Beta पहुंचे, अच्छा coaching पहुंच गया, घर आ गए, खाना खाया बेटा, क्या खाया, खाया नहीं खाया. Every day they are asking the same question. So that's okay. That's their concern. Accept it, right? But then it should not take away the liberty for us to experience, grow, evolve, right? That should not. Otherwise, you'll become a person with crutches all the time. Same. As administration becomes, or administration acquires more functions, it also acquires more authority to perform those functions. The more authority it has, the more opportunity it has now to misuse that authority. Are you getting? That is called the dilemma of development or the paradox of development, right? And this is what adequately defines the concept or the area of administrative law. The administrative law studies that part of the law or legal system which is concerned with the role, functions of administration, right? The law is made for various organizations, systems, and people, right? Out of that, one portion of the law, if we demarcate it and say it is related to administration, its function, its accountability, its control, and the power that it acquires, right? Let us demarcate this portion of the law or legal system right, which specifically studies public administration, right? That is called administrative law. It is a system which comes from the French-German system. That is called the continental law system. The prime concern of the study of administrative law is that how can we restrict the discretion of administration? We cannot stop the administration, right? But we can at least stop the discretion and misuse of authority by the administration. So that is a portion of administrative law. It is an emerging field. It is a very important field. That is very interesting analysis, right? Your GS paper to a lot of questions come, right? Courts, tribunals, right? Tribunals are courts, right? But courts, all courts are not tribunals. Tribunalization of justice. Right? Alternative dispute settlement systems. So a lot of areas are emerging today, right? National Green Tribunal, civil services law, right? Protecting the civil servants from politicization. So we need an independent body, right, which deals with that. UPSC is a body, Labasta is a training institution. See, there are a lot of administrative systems we have, CAT, SAT, and all that. So whatever is studied, right, that portion is called administrative law. Also, if you see, the legislature makes law, right? But a major portion of today, the lawmaking is done by the administration. How? Again, in GS, a lot of questions come on that. That is called delegated legislation. Delegated legislation or subordinate legislation. Parliament, rather than making the laws directly, it makes a framework. And now it gives the power or authority to the executive and the administration that you can fill the details of this law. That is why I said, by order of SSP, by order of DCP, right? That's not their order to make. They are quasi-judicial officers, no doubt. You understand? Quasi-judicial, semi-judicial. But there is a law which is already made. In that law, they have been given the power that under this law, you can make this change. Pandemic Act. They have certain powers, impose fines. Wait, how can they impose fine? Unless there is a law on that, right? So you simply cannot say, no, that having or wearing a green helmet is a crime. You cannot say that. The law doesn't say it, see? So the idea is that wherever the legislature or parliament thinks that the laws which have to be made, they are very technical, they require administrative understanding, they require details, what it does, through a procedure, it gives this power to the administration. This is called the delegated legislation or subordinate legislation. This is also an emerging area of study, that if administrators start making the law or start putting the details into the law, is it good or bad? Is it good or bad? Let's stop the discussion with this question. You tell me, is it good or bad? Administrators involving in lawmaking. Some people will say it is good. See, as an administrator, you have more expertise than a politician. You are better than a layman.
You have less checks and balances.
Correct. Or you can also say that somewhere you are becoming more despotic and administration will become more powerful. How? It is implementing the law. Now it is making the law. Conflict of interest. Right? Then it is adjudicating the law. How? In tribunals. It is working like judge. It is working like legislature. It is working like a minister also. So basically, what is administration doing? Capturing the functions of all the three organs of the state. This is the biggest threat, right? We started with the idea that administration is the means, the instrument of the government. See, imagine from means or instrument, it is becoming the owner of the system. Same logic, right? Your tenant has filed a case against you that he is the owner of your house. The tenant knows that it is a civil case. It will take 20 years for the case to resolve. Till that time, I can stay in the house without paying rent. Right? You understand? So see, if administration is given a lot of liberty, if it is involved in a lot of areas, right? Eventually, the recruited system, the selected system will control the elected system. We don't want that. However educated you are, right? As civil servants, you're not supposed to be the representatives of people. That's why we say you're doing your job. Fine? Don't talk about public service, public interest too much. You're not a politician. You're a person who has been given a specific job. You have to go and do it. right? Just like a TCS engineer is going his job, coding and doing and sitting, same way, you have to go to the office and do your job. As simple as that. No romanticization. Understand? So if you're better, non-romanticized, you see, you'll get better marks in interview. But obviously, you don't have to be rude in the interview. Right? That's one thing I can tell you from experience. So I was virtually on the verge of conflict with the interviewer. So that you should not do. Rest, if you're honest, neutral, don't be idealist. They know you're not idealist. They know Prime Minister is not idealist. Chief Ministers are not idealist. Governors are not idealist. Judges are not idealist. Yesterday only the judge, Supreme Court Judge 𝐃𝐨𝐼𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐚𝐝, right? He gave a statement. He has given a famous statement. The judges should not publicly appreciate bureaucrats or politicians. The judges must watch their public behavior. See, the biggest issue. Judiciary also works in the same environment, in the same surrounding. How should it isolate itself from the surroundings? See, that's a big question mark. So many times, if you want to make systems accountable, right, you have to isolate them. But in reality, it is not possible. So obviously, I can make out that you have now, right? Your battery is drained now. Right? Only 10%, 5% remaining. So that can take you home or at least your hostel. Fine. So tomorrow we'll start with paper 2 discussion. Right? That is also a very interesting area. But like I said, it has to be studied in more applied manner. Right? See you then tomorrow. That's why I said if you want break, you should tell me. If you want to take a break, drink water, you can just get up and go. There's no problem.